we were able to score. We had more control. We had opportunity to score the second one, and then they invented a penalty, and the game was at least more difficult. We tried, but in the last minute when they were so deep and so difficult to find the space. We scored a goal, another goal, but it was disallowed. But I think that the surprise was the penalty, because usually the penalty has to be quite clear, as they said at the beginning of the season, quite clear, and sometimes you can have a doubt. It's clear or not clear. Here, there is no doubt, because he didn't touch the ball with the hand.
Yeah, looks like...
So you know it. When a coach like Carlo Ancelotti criticizes the decision from the referee or VAR, it's a messed up decision, because Carlo never talks about referee in the match at all whatsoever. So when he talks about referee and about the decision, you know that it's a bad decision.
It is not enough for a penalty.
Also, if he touched the ball with the hand and he didn't touch the ball with the hand, a lot of doubt, no? Yeah, it was an invention.
And the key word here he used is that invention. They invented a penalty that didn't exist. If you see the clips in multiple angles, in multiple videos, every video shows that it hit Asensio's chest, not his arms. So no word is a penalty. Not in this galaxy, not in any other galaxy. It would be a penalty.
Luis Garcia is the perfect person to address this, given his Barcelona, Atletico Madrid ways. Oh. Is that a penalty, Luis?
For me, and I was in the commentary for this game, I didn't see it in the first one in action, and I didn't see it after the replay. We could see that the ball goes to the shoulder, is a rebound from the shoulder to the hand, so there's no intention there. The ball doesn't change much, just hit the body of Asensio. So, I mean, at the end, we go again to interpretation of what the referee is interpreting here. And for me, it wasn't a penalty at all, but it was called, it was given, and that's the end. We can talk a lot about it, and Ancelotti, I'm sure that he wasn't going to be happy. I'm even surprised that he mentioned it, because he's a coach who doesn't get involved much with the referees. But in my opinion, it was not a penalty.
The other question you got to ask.
So what Luis said, he didn't see at first when he was commenting for the game. Even that was same for me. Like at that time, it was difficult. The replay wasn't clear enough for me. But when I just saw the replay, it seems that it hit his shoulder, so not his arm. So I don't know what the referee saw. Here's the worst thing. The referee went to the VAR screen and he saw the same replay that we just saw. But somehow the referee thought it was a penalty. I have no clue how he made his mind by seeing the video. Unless you're so blind or you want to give a penalty out of nowhere, I don't see how he made the decision. And even Barcelona fan, Barcelona pundit, Luis Garcia admits that it's not a penalty.
Ask yourself, when we're talking about penalties, it's generally in the act of making yourself bigger. Now, I don't agree with, it was Asensio, right?
Yes.
I don't agree. I don't see the need for Asensio to be raising his hands there. Now, some will say, well, he's protecting himself from the ball hitting him in the face or whatever because he sees it late. That's part and parcel of the sport. Sometimes the ball clatters you. You're not supposed to lift your hands. But also, if the hand's not there, the ball's not gone anywhere, so he's not, even if it did hit the arm, and it probably does slightly.
Yeah, just on the rebound.
It's hitting him in the chest. He hasn't made himself bigger. He hasn't outstretched the hand. He hasn't raised it up. I don't agree with him doing that to try and protect his face, which is a little bit of a silly movement, maybe a natural one, but it doesn't make him bigger. So he doesn't affect the play. It's going to hit him in the chest anyway. So even if there was the slightest nick on the arm, I just don't see how that's a penalty kick.
What about the...
Craig explained really well why this is not a penalty. If the ball would hit Asensio, say the upper arm that was upper side of his body, I would understand that, okay, there is a slight chance that it's a penalty, because you can argue that his upper arms wasn't in the natural position. But that's not the case, right? We saw the clip multiple times. Honestly, I was so pissed off after the game because of this dodgy decision, because this decision makes huge difference in terms of league position.
Disallowed goal. Did the goalkeeper have control of the ball, Luis?
I think in this occasion it was a well done rule out, because in my opinion, the ball at that time is grabbed by the keeper. You can see that he's under control. He's got the hand over it. the ball is not in the air, so it is on the ground. So the ball is controlling. When he's trying to track it to his body is when Rordygo just tapping it in and put it inside the goal. So in my opinion, I think it was well called up, and I think it was under control of the keeper.
Okay, Luis, first of all, you have to understand the distinction between touching the ball and grab the ball. When you see the screenshot, it's very visible that he did not have the full control of the ball. He was trying to have full control by stretching the arms and trying to keep the ball too close to his body. But he failed to do that. Again, here Luis shows his bias against Real Madrid. He sees something that doesn't exist.
See, it's just such a grey area, this, because we don't see it very often.
No.
In fact, we probably won't see that again this season. In fact, I don't remember seeing that over the last couple of years. Normally when we look at a goalkeeping situation, and there was one in the Man City-Liverpool game that was actually ruled out for the foul by Erling Haaland before it, when Alisson came out, the question mark was he going to be under control of the ball? But he had two hands on it.
Right.
And a general rule of thumb when we're talking about these scenarios is the goalkeeper having two hands on the ball and being in full control. I'm kind of 50-50 with this one because, he's got his hand on the ball and he has some control of it, but he doesn't have, to me, clear control. I don't know what... We would really need an ex-referee.
So again, Craig nailed it. If you have to have full control, you have to have two arms on the ball. That was not the case here.
I really quite like the response from Michel, the Girona manager, after the game. He said, looking at that from a footballing point of view, he said that should be a goal. That's not a foul. And this is the manager, by the way, who's been benefited by the decision. It's him saying we shouldn't have been benefited by this decision. But then he said, but that's what the rules say. And so it is. Now, we can debate that part of it, but I quite like the fact that there was someone who was a beneficiary of a decision essentially say, I don't think these kind of things should be given.
As Sid pointed out, even Girona coach, the opponent's coach, admitted that this goal should not be disallowed. This should be a goal. This just shows that La Liga referees are clueless. They're so shambolic. Their decision making is so poor.
I've been upset as a player. I mean, I think most would be. I would have been really upset had I slid in there and he had one hand on it and I'd scored. When I felt if he had two on it and I'd come in and clattered them, that's a different matter.
Yeah.
The first reason is the referee and the VAR decision. They invented a penalty that didn't exist, and they ruled out a legal goal scored by Rordygo. The second, if you see the big chance creation, Girona had more big chance than Real Madrid. That is concerning to me. To me, when you play a team like Girona, they should not have so many big chance opportunity. Third, some of our managerial decisions today did not do well. First of all, as Cruz got yellow card, the first player who should be subbed out is Cruz because he already have a yellow card. Additionally, the best player at midfield at first half was Camavinga, and Carlo Ancelotti chose to take out Camavinga, who was playing well today. For me, that was a bad decision, and as a result, you saw that in second half, the defensive side, there was no one to defend at the center of the midfield. Last but not the least, our passing was slow. We did not have urgency. We weren't creating chance fast enough, and overall our gameplay was slow. The good news is that we're still top of the table. We're still 1 point adrift from Barcelona, so the control is in our hand. If Real Madrid would like to win the league title, they cannot lose points like this.